Hey YouTube, what's going on? Chris here. I wanted to bring you guys an update on Bitcoin, some of the things I'm seeing, and I just want to see if you guys see some of the same stuff that I do. So if you guys could, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that, guys. Trying to get 100 likes on this video. So really appreciate all your help. And guys, what I'm seeing here are some pretty critical areas for Bitcoin. And I also wanted to mark too that we have just now entered the longest bear market in Bitcoin history. Now, we haven't had the most severe drop in terms of percentage, but in terms of the longest amount of days in a bear market, we are there now, guys. So we are in uncharted territory, but this is to be expected. And the reason it's to be expected is because as these market cycles get bigger, it's going to take more time to correct them. When you have those large blow-offs like we had last time, that market cycle was bigger than the market cycle before, and hopefully we'll have a larger one the next time than what we have now. So that's what we have to pay attention to, that we are in uncharted territory, but you can also learn so much from the last bear market because they've been playing out very similar. So what I'm going to give you today, guys, is obviously that news, and then also just some of my targets here, some of the areas that I'm looking at, overhead resistance, different things like that. And we're also going to look on the log scale a little bit today. We'll go out to the one-day chart and we'll look at the log scale, and we'll kind of look at support, resistant areas, all that type of stuff, kind of play around with it for a little bit. So when I'm looking at this, guys, and this is on the 4-hour chart, one of the first things I'm noticing, take a look here. Look at our volume. That's a big indication. Our volume's going down. And what you're seeing here, guys, we're in this symmetrical triangle that we form now. So we're in a symmetrical triangle now. So if we come down and say we break the symmetrical triangle, we'll most likely have this double bottom in here, which could then turn into another descending triangle that we could have a downward break from. Because you got to remember, a lot of these times the descending triangles or the symmetrical triangles will break with the way of the trend. So we want to mostly have the most preparedness for the downside. We also want to be prepared for the upside, obviously, guys. Remember, we talk about upside, downside, sideways. We want to be prepared for. But in terms of breaking down, we're more likely to break down due to the volumes down. And also, guys, both of these symmetrical triangles can break either way. It's about 50-50, but in way of the trend, you're going to have more like 65-70%. It's going to break to the downside. And then descending triangles, it's about 70%. Especially with a downward trend, you'll break to the downside, 30% to the upside. So that's why I said you always got to be prepared for both. But this is a big deal here, and we're going to have to see it. Then we'd also have to see if we're going to hold that 31, that double bottom right there, or if we're just going to go down to lower lows. So that's crucial. We're paying attention to that, guys. We got the overhead moving averages here, even on the 4 hours, just hammering us down right now. And we're down 1.45%. Now, what's important that I'm seeing, though, on the bullish side, do you see how long this has been? Since what, guys? November 15th, you can see how we've been getting a bounce off this trend line down here off the RSI. So potentially this will come back down here, and that'll be around where the double bottom would be, and we'd get a bounce off that and maybe move to the upside. See? And then look at the lower highs that have been taking place, and that's what we said, the symmetrical triangle or the descending triangle. So this is all forming, guys, and that's what we want to pay attention to. So, you know, realistically, I wouldn't want to go long until I start to see some type of a break, you know, a breakout. So those are things that I'm looking at in terms of that, guys, on the RSI. Pay attention to that, and also do like overhead, you know, resistance here around 80 is going to be a good overhead resistance on the RSI. So those are the targets, guys. Overhead resistance, what you're looking at, if we do get a move to the upside, I would look at around 3,600. That was a spot with a lot of congestion here. After that, it's around that 3,800. And then around that 4,000 is going to be very strong overhead resistance that we would want to be prepared for. And on the downside, guys, I had 3,307, 3,130, and then the 3,060 for that double bottom is what we would be looking at. So what I'm going to do now, guys, I'm going to clear off this whole chart. We're going to go out to the log scale on the day. And this is really important to look at, in my opinion, because that's actually showing like the cycles and how they're playing out and everything. So let me clear all this off. We'll even get rid of the RSI for now. And guys, on the 4-hour too, you can see that we have a little bit of a bear flag potentially forming. You see this? And that's why I said it's nice to clear everything off sometimes, guys, and just really look at the patterns. So we had this flagpole that was on volume, and now we're starting to work our way up. We have the higher lows, and then we're moving up here. We kind of have those higher highs as well that are taking place. We're moving up in that slanted position. And remember, guys, with the bear flags, you don't want them to be much more than 20 days in terms of the movement of the reaction. And this is on the 4 hours, so I still think we're good in terms of how many days we've been moving up like this. But you see how we're moving up, and take another look at this. What's happening to the volume? Volume's going down. So that's a telltale sign that we may be breaking to the downside in the days to come. So keep that in mind, guys. Look at the 20 even pressing down on us right now. Alright, so let's do the log scale, and we're going to go out to the 1 day. Take a look at this. Alright. Guys, just let me get it dialed in here for a second, because I really want to look at support, resistance. Those are the big things I'm paying attention to here. So guys, we're going to start down here. Around that $900 is going to be a support area that we'd look at. Next one, around this 1,300. And then when we would have around this 1,800 right here. And that's where we kind of had this atom, or that V-shaped bottom right there. And we had to move to the upside, so you think that would be some type of support there. And then, guys, around right there. So you can see, guys, how close we truly are to getting to this bottom. I understand we could go down to this 800, whatever, if we had a full, complete bubble pop. That's well within the possibilities, guys, and I'm planning for it. But think there's not a lot of layers left here, and guys are going to step in at some point. The trend will change. And you know, we could have this double bottom form here at around that 3,018 or so. We could have or 3,100. Then we could have a potential nice buy area around that 1,800. There's some people talking about the 22, 24, this area right around in here. 2,400 would be another spot we could look at there, and then it'd be that 1,800, which I really think that would be a spot we could get a good bounce from. Remember, guys, this isn't financial advice. It's just areas I'm looking at for long term. You know, guys, and I really think 1,000 psychological would be huge. That's where tons of people would be trying to accumulate. And guys, stepping back at this, do you see, are you noticing a few things here? Take a look at this 200-day moving average. Do you see how in the uptrend we're just riding that and keeping it as support? As soon as we lost that, guys, that should have been the key for us to get out. So say on Bitcoin, that still would have got you out once we broke down below it, couldn't get above it. 9,000 could have got you out around 9,000, $10,000 right in there, and you would have known because we were trapped underneath this. And now you can see how far we've fallen, and we have this distance from it. So you would think that at some point we would have some type of reaction that would get us back to it, because they kind of act like magnets. They pull the price back to them, if that makes sense. And you know, guys, this was a very fast and aggressive drop right there. So we'll have to see, but you know, is this a big drop, and then we're in this here, and then we have another fall right down to that 1,800. See if that's a possibility. But these are the things, guys, you look for. Look at the 50 here, moving average, and look when we lost that and closed. I mean, we've been below that now. Look, guys, for how long? For over a year. So these are the things that you want to think about, how long trends can last. You know, we don't put that into consideration. People say, oh, well, you need to hodl, you need to hodl, you need to hodl. Well, are you prepared to hodl for 4 years in terms of a bear market or whatever? You know, it could be 2 years, it could be 3 years. Are you truly prepared for that, for, you know, from the all-time high, your investment to go down 90, 95% on these bubble pops, which are happening? Are you mentally prepared for that? And if you are, then that's fine, because, you know, you've seen these cycles and it will come back around. But mentally, I don't think a lot of people can handle that. So that's why you need to learn how to trade, and you need to learn how to do these things as well. And guys, think, I mean, even until we break this, look at big trends. We want to look at big trend lines here. Till we break that, which that will be a big break, guys. If we break out of here with volume, on some big nasty volume, that could get very exciting. You know, break through this, guys. We come up, we break through 6,000, come up, and then we have that pullback to around that 6,000. Find that as support again, and then move on, because this is going to be very strong overhead resistance. Very strong overhead resistance here. These are the things you want to look for where we're at now, guys. So that's what I'm planning for, you know. And on the upside in the near future, you'd look around $4,000 as serious overhead resistance. But you step back and you really look at these charts, guys, and just see here, and tell me this: why couldn't, you know, this continue to pop down? You know, we had such a run here. Why couldn't this really dwindle down into here and then move sideways at $1,500 for a year before we, you know, make another move? That's something we got to plan for as well. We really got to plan for this stuff, guys. You know, it makes all the difference in identifying stuff, just like that 200-day moving average right there. Now, in terms of fundamental news, though, guys, if all of a sudden one of the ETFs goes through and we get, you know, approval in the next couple months or whatever, we could blow right through this trend line and we could be moving again. That could be the catalyst that does it, but you can't bet on that, guys. You can't bet the farm on that. You just have to be patient and you have to wait. And while we're waiting, we want to study and we want to identify these things. I mean, look, here's another thing to identify, guys. Look in a bull market. Here's a high, high, high. You see how you're having those higher highs and higher lows? Now look over here. Lower highs just consistently and lower lows consistently. So we're going to have to be patient. We're going to have to see how this trend plays out and really go through and draw your trend lines and do all that type of stuff, guys, and do your Fibonacci. You know, even take your fib retracement. Let's see. We'll take it even from that bottom right there, guys. We'll see where we're at here. I mean, look, and that also coincides, you know, how we talked about that 2,400. And that could put us down right in here, the 0.886. That's a potential as well, because we've already lost the 0.786, guys. That was at 4,010. And we would have expected a bounce off that. And really, guys, we should have known once we lost the 0.618 at 7,789. That was a huge sign that, all right, here, now we're going down. I mean, even the 50, that's why a lot of guys left at 10,000, is because when you lose the 50 in a lot of the books I'm reading, then it's most likely time to get out, guys, because you're going to be moving to the downside. So pay attention to those type of things as well. And then you can also put a reverse Fibonacci on it. And look at these, guys. I mean, look at the log scales and look at the arithmetic scales and all that stuff, because, you know, the log scales, that's what a lot of serious investors are looking at. So we need to be understanding what they're seeing as well. So if we're going to put the Fibonacci on the other direction, we put it like this, guys. We take it right up here and see where we're at. Look at that. I mean, we're just trapped. The 0.236 now, guys, is at, what, $7,000. So we're very overextended. And that's what you also have to think about too. When I know everything's looking bearish and it's going down, and it should, you know, charting wise, go down again, but we're just, you know, we've been in this trend for a long time, and trends exhaust themselves. And we have to understand that trends exhaust themselves. So, you know, keep all this stuff in mind, guys. Put it in your back pocket, and remember too that we are now in uncharted territory, being that this is the longest bear market that's been experienced in the life of Bitcoin in 10 years. So, you know, as the cycles get bigger, this is going to continue to happen, and we have to be prepared for it. We have to be ready for it. And that's why I'm here with you guys. I want to continue to work hard. And, you know, the people who are at the end of this video still listening, guys, you're on it. You're trying to work hard. You're trying to grind. And I really appreciate each and every one of you. And leave it down low, guys. Comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think about these support levels, these resistance levels, all that type of stuff. God bless each and every one of you guys. Have a wonderful Sunday. Hopefully you guys have some fun watching the Super Bowl. And also leave down low who you think is going to win too. So, God bless, my friends.